All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us, all those on the phone as well. Just a few announcements before we get started. In addition to our team call tonight, we're also having our What is Coaching webinar tomorrow night. Remember that? Brian and John Tantillo and Michelle Taylor, Jill Sanchez will be hosting the call and telling their stories. So, feel free to invite people. We just had this recruiting contest right in February where a bunch of people won prizes, but just because we don't have prizes in March, hopefully, that opened you up or allowed you to step out of your comfort zone, right, to start inviting more people. And inviting them to these webinars is a nice thing that you can do without, stressing yourself about worrying about what you would have to say or questions that they would ask, because, Brian and the team would answer them all for you, right? They're going to explain everything, and they'll answer any questions that they have at the end. So, feel free to invite people to that call tomorrow night. And I also want to tell you about Monday night. We are doing, with our Business Builders call at 9 o'clock, we are going to be have a special guest leader on that call. And it's going to be Bianca O'Brien, a 3-star diamond on the Dream Team, which is Melanie Mitro's team. And she's going to lead our team in a live power hour. And she runs these calls for Melanie Mitro's team. So I think it'll be, hopefully a really good experience. I'm sure she does things different than I do them. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys all attend the call. Also, remember, we have our new coach call series starting again on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're a new coach or you have new coaches that recently started, make sure that they attend those calls at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. So let's introduce our speaker tonight is Brian Rulka, a 3-star diamond coach, 4-star qualifying. Woo! And he qualified for the New Leader Conference this year. So for those that don't know what the New Leadership Conference is, it's for any new 2-star or above diamond. So if you go 2-star or above diamond this year, you will get invited to the New Leadership Conference next January. And it's in LA every year. So far, it's been in LA. You get to go to headquarters and meet Carl and everybody, and they fly in top coach speakers to speak to you. I know that last year, Corey got an invite, and I believe Dave Kirby got an invite. I know Corey wasn't able to go because he had a loss in his family. So I think David Kirby went, but I think Brian is the first person to go in a year or two. So I asked Brian to come back and give us a report of everything that they shared. Typically they announce some things maybe, or they talk about some products or something. But I'm sure there's a lot of great training as well. So Brian, if you want to take it away.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Greg. Can we just find out who's on the phone and then put their names in?
Sure.
Yeah. I'd like to see.
I'm going to unmute. Who is the number that ends in 3447?
That's me, Connie.
Oh, hey, Connie?
3477, yeah.
Oh. That last 7 must be cut off.
Yeah, I see it, 3447.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Thanks. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
I don't even know my own phone number.
No problem. All right. Whose number ends in 7512?
7512, that's me, Chuck Kruger.
All right. Hey, Chuck.
Hey.
Chuck. And whose number ends in 6945?
That's me. It's Regina Dewey.
All right.
Hi, Regina.
Hi.
I was hoping you were one of the numbers.
Yeah, I'm hiding back here.
All right, great. So I'll mute everyone up. Go ahead, Brian.
All right. Wow. Nervous. Okay, so Greg told you a little bit about how to get to the new leader conference, and I'll tell you guys something. When it wasn't on my goal list or it wasn't on my vision board, I knew about it last year, but it wasn't, it wasn't something that I was shooting to do. So when it happened, and I got the invite towards the end of the year last year, and also with the invite, if you get a certain amount of elite points, they pay for your hotel. You still have to pay for your flight to go out there, your transportation and everything, but they pay for your hotel. So anyway, I got the invite. The hotel was paid for, and my first reaction was, I'm not going. I didn't want to go, and I even told Greg that when I got the invite that I didn't want to, that I wasn't going to go, and he said, "What are you, crazy? Why would you not want to go? That it just doesn't make any sense." So I'm going to take you a little bit into my mindset back then when I found out about it towards the end of the year. It was, for a lot of us coaches, it was a pretty rough year. As far as this business goes, a lot of things happening. It doesn't, and it's the same thing with me and with Greg. We struggle when things like that happen. And I was just coming off of looking for a home and finding one that we wanted, and putting in an offer for it, and accepting it, and then getting the appraisal done, going through the process, and then that fell through. And that was really, really crushing to Andrea and myself also. So there was, all these outside factors that were going on. And plus I wasn't feeling confident about myself. I wasn't feeling confident about my business. I just was not in that right mindset that I needed to be at. And it was a little scary, because I think the first thing I asked Greg was, I was like, "Well, who else is going from our team?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. I'll find out." And then it turned out that nobody, else was going. And I was like, "Oh man, so, I'm not going to be with you, Greg, or anybody else from our team, or, and my wife's not going to go because, and, all the other events that we do, she comes along. But this one, because it was, a smaller one and a lot to do in a short frame of time, plus the cost of, her flight and everything. But, that we decided, if I went, she was going to stay home. So everything, I just wasn't there. And I wasn't, like I said, mentioned, feeling confident about my business or my ability or being a leader. I'm like, here I am getting this invitation to a leader conference, and I don't even feel like a leader. I'm like, oh my God, this, and then I thought about it some more. I'm going to share my screen. This was one of the slides that they put up in there, and I'll read this to you guys. This is one of the presenters, and I'll go through who they were. But I've been absolutely terrified every moment of my life, and I've never let it keep me from doing a single thing I wanted to do. And I was thinking about everything that I've done over the past 4 years, and the accomplishments, and all the struggles and obstacles that I overcame, and all of those terrifying moments, because there's tons of terrifying moments. And you guys know, as coaches, it is very scary, and there is that fear factor in almost everything that we do. And that's why we talk about personal development. We talk a lot about overcoming that fear. But all that times I've been terrified, I've always went through with it. I've always carried through, whether it was that first time talking to somebody about the coach opportunity, that first time getting that email from somebody, asking about a challenge pack, what do I say, that first group that you run, or that first free group that you do, or anything that you do that is outside of your comfort zone for coaching, all of that, all of those things terrified the crap out of me, but I did them anyway. And this was one more thing that was terrifying me, but I said, I got to do it anyway. So I got to go. So that's where I was. And that kind of was a little bit of a turnaround too, where I said, I got to get myself back on track. I got to get myself back into the proper mindset. I got to get myself doing those things, those consistent, disciplined things that I have been doing all along. And just because it's not working as well as it used to do, well, then I need to look at it and make some modifications and change it. Okay, I can't give in or give up with it. So the New Leader Conference and getting that invitation was actually one of the best things that ever happened to me last year. One of the best things. And having that mindset at the beginning was one of the best things that ever happened to me. So at the time, when something's happening to you at that time, when you're thinking to yourself that this is terrible, or I'm scared, or I have that fear, don't let it stop you from doing what you know you should be doing, or what you can do. Don't ever let it stop you, because the opportunities that happen are just amazing, and you will miss out on so much. So that's what I wanted to start with, letting you guys know where I was. All right, let's get into some fun stuff. All right, I was talking to Greg and I before the call, and I said, what do you think I should share? What do you want me to share? So I think what I'm going to share with you guys, there was a great presentation on compliance. Okay. By Jonathan, I don't know his name. He was only on stage for 20 minutes, but I think I'll turn this into like 2 hours on compliance, because it is my favorite topic. Okay, I'm kidding, guys. Did people leave the call? There was a speaker there on compliance, and it was really cool, but I'll get to that later, because you guys will be able to see it, and I'll tell you about that later. But so let me start with some fun things. Okay, so like I said, I was terrified to go. First trip, not having Andrea, not having teammates with me, meeting all these new people. Just to give you, an example, I'm going to skip forward a little bit, but the first dinner that we had together, it was like you walk into the room, and I felt like I was in high school again, because everyone's already sitting down at all the tables. They're all talking to each other, and here I am with my tray, and I'm like, where do I sit? What do I do? So, but that's also exciting too. So that's kind of what it felt like, and then going out there. But it was amazing, guys. It was amazing. So the first night that we were there, or the first day I went out there on Thursday. So Thursday night, there was a little meet and greet, and I got to see Carl. There were still coaches coming in all day Thursday and Friday, so not a lot of coaches were there yet. So it was really great to meet Carl, shake his hand, talk to him for a little bit. And then Michael was there, Michael Neiman, Jeff Hill. If you guys don't know who they are, you will, the longer you are a coach. They're just two amazing guys. You probably have seen them in videos. We did a lot of talking there. There were about 200 coaches that went, and out of those 200 coaches, 6 of them were men. So the rest were all women. And I'll tell you guys something, the 6 of us guys found each other really quick. So even that meet and greet, we found the six of us, found each other, started talking, and so that was pretty cool. Friday was awesome, amazing. Friday was the tour of Beachbody headquarters. Greg, did I ask you this? I don't even know. Have you been to Beachbody headquarters?
I have not, no.
Okay. All right. Just so you guys know, anybody can go. You don't have to be a new leader conference or anything. Anybody at any time. If you guys are in LA, if you live close to LA, all you got to do is call them, send an email. They give tours all the time if you're a coach, only if you're a coach. And your significant other can come with you. So anybody can tour Beachbody headquarters at any time. You just set up an appointment. But we went in groups. Obviously, there was a lot of us. We had different times that we went. From the hotel to Beachbody headquarters was about 6 miles, maybe 7 miles. And it took us an hour to get there because LA traffic is awesome. So once we got there, they gave us a tour of the facilities, and this is all stuff. If you guys have been a coach for a while, you have seen a lot of this stuff in like Carl's videos or Michael's or whoever. You see the wall that Carl writes on with all his motivational quotes and whatever he's feeling that day, so this whole staff can do it. We got to walk down that hall and see all his writings. We got to see the Shakeology wall, get our picture taken there. They gave us a complete tour. The gym is on the 2nd floor. It's this awesome gym. Carl had a video today, and he was talking to it from that gym. And I was watching. I was just there at that gym. And what's cool is anybody, and of course, there's kitchens on every floor, and Shakeology, performance supplements, everything. And what you can do, the people that work there are the same people that give these tours. So, whenever one comes up, it's like, hey, you're up next to do the tour. And then whatever you're doing, okay, get up, and then you go and you give the tour. So everyone's qualified to give these tours. And at any time, if you're at your desk, if you want a Shakeology, you get up and make it, or you want to work out, you don't have to wait for lunch. You get up and go work out. It's that kind of an atmosphere that's there. Everyone works hard. They get their work done. But everyone kind of is independent, so that's really cool. And that goes along with Beachbody's philosophy of, work hard, have fun, live happy, fulfilling lives. And they really, not only do they preach that, but that is really the atmosphere, even at Beachbody headquarters. And probably one of the coolest things that has ever happened to me as a coach was Carl was doing a live surge that day, and he was downstairs on the ground floor. They have like a little store shop there, so he was doing the surge, so we couldn't go in there, but he was doing it. And for some of you guys that saw it, towards the end, we're all like walking around behind there, and then one of the tour guys goes, we're gonna chant, "We love Beachbody." We're gonna scream it really loud on the count of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then we love Beachbody. Carl turned around. He was with Michael, and they waved us over. You didn't have to invite me twice. I just took off, got down there, and was part of the ending of that live surge video. Like I said, something small, but probably one of the coolest things that has ever happened to me as a coach. So that was cool. So that was Friday. And then Friday night, we had a welcome reception and a little bit of some presentations on Friday night. But Saturday was the big day. Saturday was when we had all the different speakers come out and talk about all these different topics. Now, the leadership conference it's almost like a mini summit. So for all you guys that have been to Summit, it's kind of like that. But with Summit, it's the range of everybody from a discount coach all the way up to 15-star diamond is there. At the leadership conference, it's coaches that are kind of in that really same place together. That 2-star, 3-star, 4-star. So a lot of the training is tailored towards that, where you're at in your business with that. That doesn't mean that you can't apply it to whatever kind of coach you are, but a lot of it was that, like, they had Kim Carver was talking about elite, and elite has always been something that confused me. I know it now, but it was really, in-depth things like that. But there was Melanie Mitro was there, and she actually spoke twice. And I'll talk a little bit about what she talked about. There were Michael Neiman spoke, Jeff Hill spoke. Carl wasn't there because he had a wedding to go to. But there was a couple of different coach success stories. And what was funny, I met a coach at 5 o'clock in the morning on Friday, going downstairs in the hotel to get some coffee. And me and her were the only two people that just opened up. And she had the same jacket on as me. And I was like, oh, wow, cool. And I said, that's a great jacket. She turned around and she's like, oh, and then we introduced each other. And then she saw the shirt I was wearing, and she unzipped her jacket, and it was the exact same shirt. We're like, so we got a picture together. Her name's Nina, and it was all cool. She didn't mention this to me at all, but she was one of the coach success stories. And she came up on stage on Saturday, and she shared her success. And they bring up a lot of different coaches to share their stories. And I'll tell you, every coach that came up, there's not a dry eye in the house, because these are some truly incredible, remarkable, amazing stories. And it's stories about their fitness journey. It's stories about their, the personal growth that they've went through, overcoming cancer. Nina's story was really heartfelt and personal about how she was bullied all her life, in school and high school, and even by her family, being always told that she was fat, and she had to overcome that. So really, really powerful stuff. And then there was lots of different coaches, top coaches that came out and spoke. And one of them, her name is Ashley Smith. She had everyone had an effect on me, but her in particular, because she was at the New Leadership Conference a year ago, and she was sitting in the audience as a 2-star diamond coach. And now here at the next leadership conference, she's up on stage as a 5-star diamond coach, giving her presentation and sharing with her how she went from 2-star diamond to 5-star diamond. And that was truly, truly incredible. I'm going to go to my slides real quick. I want to bring up, that's the wrong one. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Can you see that, Greg? I can only see you right now. Okay. So this actually was a presentation by Micah Folsom, which was another great one. And this one, she talked about being a leader, okay, and what that means. And asking yourself deep down if you are a leader. Now, everybody here on this call right now, you guys are lead. You guys are, my screen sharing is paused. Can you see it? It says it's paused.
What do you mean it's paused?
Can you see the 24 hours in a day?
We just see all the little icons.
Oh, all right. How about now?
Yeah, we see it now.
Okay, sorry guys. So whether or not you guys have any coaches under you, that you've signed up any coaches, doesn't matter. If you have just one customer, you are a leader. Okay, even if you don't feel like one, you're a leader. You have someone that is looking up to you, someone that is looking at you for support, motivation, someone that's looking up at you for inspiration, for guidance, and that makes you a leader. So just like if it was the other way around, who would you want looking up at you? Okay. Now, some of the things that we have to do as a leader is time management. And I'm bringing this up because this is something that that I've been struggling with now for a while, with the time management aspect of this business, and that there is just so much stuff that needs to be done, and how to find the time to do everything. She really emphasized is making sure that you figure out what your priorities are. That's the first thing. What are your priorities? So it got me thinking, and I wrote them down, what my priorities. Now, my Beachbody business is a priority. It is a priority. So that goes right on the list. My family, my wife, priority. Time with her, that's a priority. I do have a 40-hour full-time job that I do. Unfortunately, that has to be a priority as well. So listing out all the priorities that I have. Now, everything else, if there's something there that just doesn't fit or doesn't align with my ultimate goals, I have to say no to that. I have to say no. I have my goals. You guys, wherever you're at in your business, whatever your goals are, whether it's to hit a certain amount of money, whether it's to hit a certain amount of rank, whether it's to hit Success Club, you got to be true to those goals, and it's going to take work and consistency. And everything else that isn't aligning right with that, that's the stuff that you have to say no to. So goals are really important because not only, we always talk about the BHAG, right? The big, hairy, audacious goal, and those are good to have. Don't trust me. Having that big goal to shoot for definitely is what you need. However, you really want to be realistic with the goals that you are setting, because the first thing you want to ask yourself is, are you going to be able to devote the time necessary to reach those goals? So if your goal is to be a top 10 coach, it's a great goal to have, but ask yourself that question. Or do you have the time that it's going to take to make it to a top 10 coach? Elite, Premier, Success Club, and you have to think about those sacrifices that you have to make. I'm going to show you guys something that I took away. This was actually from Melanie Mitra over here. She talked about making a schedule. You are the CEO of your own business. Making a schedule, and a daily schedule, a weekly schedule, a monthly schedule, and sticking to it. Just like if you were creating that schedule for employees, if you were the CEO, because that's what you are. You are the employee of your company. And I haven't done that before. I've done little bits of that before, but I haven't really sat down and figured out exactly what time slots I'm going to do for what. So this was something that she went through, and she shared hers. You can see it there. I'll even share I don't know why that I got the stop share or the sharing not set right. So maybe this will work now. So here's mine. This is what I came up with. Just a regular Excel spreadsheet, and I put in all of my activities because these are the things that I need to do in order to hit my goal, in order to hit the goals that I have. And I got some pretty lofty ones. So this was the first thing I did, was I created my calendar of all the things that I have to do. And everything's on here. You can see all this red here. Greg doesn't like seeing that, but you know what? It's a reality, because there's my priority. That's my job, my 40-hour-a-week job. I can't do anything about that. That's right there in the middle there. Then I have my family time, with Andrea, and there's not much of that. There's not much of that. And that goes also with something else that we talked about, and that is having that support system at home. And I am very lucky that I have Andrea with me, because we both share the same goals and the same visions. So when I come home from work and I have to go to work again, she understands that. She understands it because she knows what it means. She knows why I'm doing it, and she knows what we're working towards. I do feel guilty a lot about it, and that's why I have to adhere to this. I have to really make sure that I adhere to my schedule. And I've even talked to her and I promised her, I said, this is what we're going to do because you do need that downtime. You know, that's why Sunday I have pretty much all open, and that's our date together. You know, in the past I've always said that, you know, that Sunday will be our day, but then I get the email or Facebook chat message pops up, and then before I know it, I'm on my computer for an hour or 2 hours. Not anymore. Not anymore. So I've learned that I need to kind of not step back, but I need to make sure I'm devoting all of my priorities that I have enough time to each one of them. And in the end, that is going to make me a more successful coach. It is going to make me better. My slides are all messed up.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead.
That kind of ties into, I made a post last week. I don't know if folks on the call saw it, about what Summer Tucker said around that topic. Did you see that?
No, I don't think so.
And she posted her schedule as well, you know, and what it was some coach on the wall that said that, you know, she, and you know, I've been there. I know a lot of coaches have been there, where we have coaches that tell us that they want to take a step back, or they got burned out, or you know, they need to, you know, take a step back to devote time to family, or you know, that their spouse is not supportive of them doing this, right? And somebody posted this. It was Jatana who posted this on the wall that said she had a couple diamonds that were telling her this. And then Summer, you know, commented on that thread, and there was some really good advice. And, you know, if you guys didn't see it, it's in the Engage group. But, you know, she basically said what you said. You have to, you know, the reason that your spouse isn't being supportive is because you're ignoring them. Right? You're not making time for them. If you were making time for them and making them a priority, then they wouldn't have any problem at all with the business or you working the business. So you have to put together that schedule. And she shared her schedule and what she does, and it's in the comments. But she said, you know, basically, if you put together a schedule and you share that with your spouse and you get them to buy in with that schedule and agree to it, then, you know, you're not going to get burned out. They're not going to feel left out. And it is, you know, that was her recommendation.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. I shared that with Andrea, and I said, I'm going to adhere to this. You know, this is going to make me, and like Greg just said, and like I said, it's going to make me a better person. It's going, and if I'm a better person, I'm going to be a better coach. I'm going to be able to do my job better. I'm going to be able to get things done more efficiently and in a better time frame than I was in the past. You know, so it's just so important, because for a long time there, you know, it was just boom, boom, boom. And don't get me wrong, guys, the outcome of that was, you know, the success that I've been having comes from that grind, that grit, if you want to call it. But there also has to be that time where, you know, it's okay to, you know, especially with your significant other and your spouse, that you have that time for them and just to share that. So, yeah. All right, I'm not going to go through the rest of my slides. Talk about some other cool things. One of the other things Jeff Hill gave, and I talked a little bit about this on my team call last night, so I'll mention it. He gave a great presentation on Good to Great. Now, I don't know if anybody has read that book. Has anybody read it, Good to Great? Greg's read it. And basically what that means, going from good to great, is good. Good is good, right? Good is good. If you know, you could have a good job. You can have, you can send your kids to good schools. You can go eat dinner at a good restaurant. But wouldn't you rather do all those things as great? Wouldn't you want to send your kids to great schools, have dinner at a great restaurant, you know, live in a great community? You know, good is the enemy of great. Good is the enemy of great. Sometimes we feel, well, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. This is okay. I'm doing good. And if you feel that way, then you're never going to get to that next level, which is that level of great, or going from that level of average, doing average things, average work, to awesome and doing awesome work. And how do you do that? How do you go from being good to great? And I'll give you 3 things real quick on how to do that. The first thing that you have to do is you have to confront the brutal facts. That's the very first thing that you have to do with yourself, confronting the brutal facts of where you are in your business, the things that are taking away, like I mentioned before, those priorities, things that are taking out the priorities, but the things that are taking you away from your goals in your business, and be totally brutally honest with, are you doing what you should be doing? I just mentioned this before, there was about 200 coaches that went to the New Leader Conference. And I'm telling you guys, all 200 were excited, enthusiastic, clapping, cheering, taking notes furiously. They were all absorbing it and loving it. And then everybody goes home on Sunday. And I will tell you, out of those 200 coaches, 190 of them won't do anything with what they learned at the conference. A small percentage will, though. A small percentage will go from good to great. And how do they do that? They confront the brutal facts. And then they make changes. And then they take action. That seems to be the biggest thing that holds all of us coaches back, is that we can be on team calls, we can look at all the resources that are available to us, we can learn how to create a Facebook group, we can learn all of these things. But if we're not taking action on any of it, nothing will move, nothing will happen from it. Or if we're taking only a tiny piece of action on it, once again, if we're terrified, if we have that fear, if we procrastinate, it's like, I was going to send out these invites, I'll do it tomorrow. All of those things will keep you from getting to great. The second thing is something called the hedgehog concept. And I'm going to share all the slides with you guys. I'm going to give you a link to all of them, so don't worry about that. I just don't want to go looking for them. The hedgehog concept is basically really simple, and it comes after the fox trying to catch the hedgehog and eat him, right? No matter how hard the fox tries, the hedgehog, he can never get the hedgehog and eat him. And why can't he do that? Well, that's because the hedgehog has a very simple thing that he does that doesn't allow the fox to get to him. The hedgehog will curl up into a ball. He's got those little spiny things, right? And now the fox can't get to him. Very simple thing. Usually, there is nothing new here, guys. There's nothing new here. There's no magic secret. Everything comes down to the simple things that we do as coaches. 4 vital behaviors. Simple, right? Be proof of the product. Personal development. Connect with people, share with people, invite. Okay, and then recognition. What could be simpler than that? If you were doing those 4 things every single day, you're going to be a successful coach. You're going to move from good to great. If you're lacking on one of those things, then it's going to take longer. A lot of people are proof of the product, but do they share, connect, and invite? Maybe people share, connect, and invite, but they're not using Shakeology. Doesn't make any sense. These are simple things to do. You got to be doing them every single day. Consistency over time. Okay? See, there was those 2 things, confronting and the hedgehog concept. So give you guys a book recommendation, something that I'm reading. This is John Acuff, Punch Fear in the Face, Start, Escape Average. I don't know if you guys have read hands. Two people have read it. Awesome book, Beth. So I just want to read something to you guys. This is pretty awesome because a lot of us used to forget that we were all awesome, and we still are. We still are all awesome, but sometimes we just need to be reminded again of how awesome we are. So I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to wrap it up. We all used to be awesome. Awesome is a lot simpler than you think because you used to know awesome quite well. Everyone did at one point, especially when we were kids. I was reminded of this one night as I was walking down the hall at home. My daughters were brushing their teeth, an event that usually boils down to an international crisis. This time, though, they were fighting for sink space. This time, though, they weren't fighting for sink space. They were talking literature. I heard L.E., my 9-year-old, say to her little sister McRae, "Did you know that guy who wrote The Twits also wrote James and the Giant Peach?" I heard McRae respond, "I know, I love that guy. He's got a great imagination, just like me." Like me? What a powerful declaration. Roald Dahl has been called the greatest storyteller of our generation. He also wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He sold millions and millions of books, and in McRae's little 6-year-old mind, his imagination is on par with hers. He's her peer. You used to believe like that too. You used to turn sticks into swords or dirty flip-flops into glass slippers. You climbed trees and made forts and thought being a doctor wasn't out of reach. Nothing was out of reach. Then somewhere along the way, you lost it. Maybe someone who mattered to you told you that your version of awesome didn't matter. When my friend Liz was in the 8th grade, she loved to dance. It was all she ever did. One day, her mom pulled her aside and said, "You know, you're not going to be a rockette, right? You know that's not in the cards for you, right?" Do you think Liz danced a whole lot after that? Of course not. She gave up her dreams of awesome that day. As a parent, I understand the temptation to tell your kids something like that. You don't want Simon Cowell to be the first person who introduces your daughter to the idea that she can't sing. But there's an inherent problem with this approach to life. When a parent, a boss, a teacher, a spouse, or a friend tells you what you can't be, they're predicting a future they don't control. They don't know what 25 or 35 or 55 is going to look like for you. What if, when he didn't make the varsity basketball team, his sophomore year of high school, Michael Jordan's dad pulled him aside and putting his arm around a young Michael said, "You know you're not going to play in the NBA, right? You know that's not in the cards for you, don't you?" Maybe your mom never told you that your dream was too big, but chances are you've been telling yourself that for years, maybe decades. The way your brain developed certainly hasn't helped the cause. When you were young, your right hemisphere was in full force. It was the guy in charge, and it was part of your brain that embraced curiosity and adventure and was constantly unafraid to ask why and why not. Your brain was this way when you were a child because you were learning at a rapid clip. You were learning language and the laws of physics and the elements of balance. You had to be unguarded so you could absorb everything, even some pain here and there, so you would know how to thrive in this land called life outside the womb. But as you grew older, the other hemisphere, the left side of your brain, began to gain a voice. It began to say things like, "That's impossible," or "They will laugh at you," or "Don't be foolish." Your left brain plays an important role in your thinking because it is the voice that teaches you not to touch that hot stove or jump off the top stair like you're Superman. Unfortunately, it can also make a very logical and compelling argument that what it says is final. As we grow up, most of us came to believe that left brain's assertions, and as a result, we lost the sense that awesome was around the corner. Instead, we started to believe that awesome was not in the cards for us, or that it was illogical or simply childish. The good news is we can recover those childlike notions of grandeur. but it takes more than simply acting like a child again. You know some things as an adult that you couldn't have known as a child. And you possess skills that no child can develop. While I encourage you to think like my daughter does about the famous author, because your perception does truly fuel your reality, the best news is now you can apply that thinking like an adult. The road to awesome is still accessible. Now as an adult, you have the tools to head down it immediately. We've been told our whole lives that our 20s are where we begin down our career paths, and our 60s are the end of the road. But that timeline is no longer the only valid one. In fact, that timeline is no longer typical. Age is no longer the primary factor that determines where you are on the map. Life is now less about how old you are and more about when you decide to live. If you're 45 and looking for a career shift after realizing you don't love what you do, you're back in your 20s. It's time to start. If you're 33 and haven't found something you're really passionate about, you're still in your 20s. It's time to start. If you're 52 and embarking on a new career because your job or maybe your entire industry disappeared, you've returned to your 20s. It's time to start. If you're 22, well, that one seems really obvious, doesn't it? You're literally in your 20s, so it's time to start. Regardless of your age or station in life, it all comes down to one simple truth. You just have to start. So many times, that was another thing I was struggling with last year was, I'm going to be 45 years old. I'm trying to build a business. I was supposed to do this when I was 30. But life, isn't like that. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter how old you are. The only thing that matters is deep down what you have inside. Your passion. If you have that passion, you can do amazing, amazing things. And finally, one last thing I want to share with you. Real quick, 1-minute video. Misty Copeland, ballerina, famous ballerina, but wasn't always so. I will what I want.
Dear candidate, thank you for your application to our ballet academy. Unfortunately, you have not been accepted. You lack the right feet, Achilles tendons, turnout, torso length, and bust. You have the wrong body for ballet, and at 13, you are too old to be considered.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what people say. Doesn't matter what people tell you. If you believe you can do it, if you want it bad enough, you're going to get it. Just got to believe. All right, I'm done. Greg, any questions?
All right, thanks, Brian. Anyone have any questions for Brian? So did they reveal any product information or anything like that?
No.
Nothing?
The closest thing they revealed was when our tour guide was giving us the tour of headquarters, and she was showing us the Shakeology wall. She mentioned later in the year there will be Shakeology flavors coming out. And I turned to her and I said, did you mean plural, flavors? And she said, whoops. So that's the only thing. I don't know what they're going to be. But
I thought they already announced that there's going to be 2 new flavors this year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did on one of the surges.
Yeah.
But that was the only closest. That was the only closest thing to a product announcement.
Okay, cool. I know that I have been asked to be in a beta test group for the new Beachbody On Demand app. So like a focus group or whatever you call it, you know. So I've had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So I can't give you guys specifics about it, but I met with corporate on a Zoom call this week, and they showed me a demo and asked for my feedback on the new BOD app. And I can tell you guys it's amazing. I mean, as you probably already assumed, they're integrating the what do you call it, the My Challenge Tracker app into the BOD app. So they're going to become one, you know, and, you know, it's going to encompass everything that a person needs, you know, your groups, your accountability, your check-in, your recipes, your community, everything, you know. And it was pretty amazing, I could tell you that. But unfortunately, I can't show it to you or anything like that. But you know, so I can tell you that that's coming out, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised. Like the Success Club trip, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they give a demo of it, or at least not, if not then, they'll do it at Summit, probably the beginning demos of it, you know, and have it come out, you know, sometime soon.
We need to have more files in the Challenge Tracker app for that, because I tried to upload files into my group last month, and I think I couldn't do more than 10. So, you know, like recipes and stuff like that, I had to stop. So.
Okay.
I don't know if you have any, you know, influence in saying we need more files.
Yeah, they did ask for my feedback, and I have their email address. So I said if I think of, I did give them a lot of suggestions.
Video being one.
Yes, video was one of them. I hate, most of my suggestions were on the Challenge Tracker app versus the BOD. The BOD was more of bugs that I've seen, like you can't, the heart rate monitor doesn't connect sometimes. It makes you log in multiple times, you know, especially with the Apple TV. There's some screen bugs and stuff like that. So I shared those, but if you have other suggestions, oh, and I shared a lot with the My Challenge Tracker app as well. Like one of the things that I hate is that I can message people and I can see the history of what I send them, but then when they send something back to me as a coach, it comes to text or to email. So I have no continuity. And they said, yeah, that's a big issue on their list. And then there was a couple others, but if you guys have more feedback on the existing stuff that you would like to see changed, then email that to me or message it to me, and I'll create a list and I'll email it to the product team. All right. Anything else? All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Louie.